my recap of the Victoria's Secret fashion show. I'm Dani, and this isn't the usual content that I do, but this was requested by a bunch of you. I got so many DMs about this, and I figured why not? Let's talk about Victoria's Secret, because I remember growing up during that era having this dream of being a Victoria's Secret angel, like so many young girls. So I had some high expectations, really high expectations for the return of the show. And I'm gonna be honest, I was a little disappointed. Not in everything, but well, let's talk about it. First, the beginning of the show opening was nostalgic because Tyra introed it, well, her voiceover introed it, like back in the day when models like Heidi Klum would introduce and kind of host the show in a way. So I did like that. It also kind of felt very Miss Universe to me because Tyra made mention of there being models in the show that are from all over the world. So it felt very international, which was cool. And it was in New York. I wish that I could have gone. My invite must have been lost. Now, I do always appreciate their performers, and I think that's great, but I feel like anybody who's ever been to a concert or a live performance knows that being in that live show, it just can't compare to the videos that we take on our cell phone or a rebroadcast of it. So this opening with the motorcycle and the dancers, I think this was actually really great, and it was probably very exciting if you were actually in the venue. I also really like any time that their performers have a very long walk down the iconic runway. But one thing that I thought was strange is there wasn't technically a runway. Like, it felt more like New York Fashion Week where everybody was on the floor, and I just kind of like the idea of a stage though. What do you think? But if you do it on the floor, there is a lot more room, and nobody's gonna fall off. Might fall, but not fall off. Gigi Hadid opened the show. And honestly, no hate to Nepo babies at all. But my thing is if you're gonna be a Nepo baby, fine, but I want you to serve the industry standard. And when I saw this opening, I didn't understand if the walk was inhibited by the wings, because if that was the case, I get it more. If those wings were really, really heavy, it might have made it very difficult for her to walk. She may have felt like she was falling over. I don't know, but in that case, maybe attach them in a different way, secure them better for her, and that wouldn't have been her fault. I really need a strong opening for the walk. When I saw this walk in particular, I was just thinking about all the pageant girls that I see every day that'll never even have the opportunity to step foot on that Victoria's Secret runway, that frankly, I really believe would have delivered a stronger opening. Now, one thing that everybody was talking about was inclusivity during this show, and I'm all for inclusivity. I think that's great. Like, let's make everybody feel seen and celebrated and appreciated. That's wonderful. But one really interesting thing that I saw brought up on a podcast was that the plus size models weren't showing their stomachs, that they weren't in lingerie. And I don't really understand why that choice was made by the stylists. I don't get it. There are designers and brands like Adore Me, which is a sustainable lingerie line, and I love them. I've been to their New York Fashion Week shows, and I thought they were so well done, and you will see women in lingerie of all sizes at their shows. And so it's really interesting to see that our plus size models on the Victoria's Secret runway were very covered up, Tyra included. The other thing I'll mention is I do feel like the styling was quite off. Like, I saw the look that they put Adriana Lima in, and I was like, why? Like, this full body fishnet look that, frankly, the full body fishnet, it looked like something we could get off of Amazon. For me, it wasn't this like really cute bodysuit that only Victoria's Secret has that every girl is gonna run to get. I was like, I'm pretty sure I've seen this on Amazon. I did not love the styling and the wings. What happened to the epic wings? I feel like most of the wings during the show were so minimal. They were so minimal. And I'm not saying that there's like not a time and a place, but I need massive and I need feathers. That also might be because I just watched national costume competitions for Cosmo International and then also Miss Grand International, and those ladies are really delivering. Is it just me? But the wings just felt so small, and I was waiting to see big wings. Now, with all of that being said, there were a few ladies who I felt like they got the good end of the deal, where they had good styling and they had a good walk. So maybe the stylists were really paying attention to the walks and they were like, this this one right here, she's gonna sell this. She's gonna sell this look. The other thing about the styling that I was used to at Victoria's Secret is that they were highly themed and not just broken up by color. Like we saw this red holiday segment, okay. We saw the pink segment, okay. But if you look at past editions, there were these clear themes. And let me tell you, the way that those themed segments used to make me run to Victoria's Secret, I was just rewatching the show and I was like, I had that bra and that bra and that bra and that bra. I wanted all the bras from the show because I was like, oh my gosh, these are so cute. These shows were truly selling these bras to me growing up, and I'm curious what happened to their sales after the show. I would expect there was some sort of uptick, but I wonder if it compares to what it was for the previous editions. Something I also missed was hearing the audio of what was happening backstage. I don't know if you saw this or if it was on your feed, because it was all over mine. People were making reels with that iconic audio that said like, okay, Candace, walk in 3, 2, 1. And there was somebody backstage giving direction, and I liked all of the backstage clips. We did see backstage with the ladies, but I like how in the past they made it so frantic and exciting. And then there were people backstage and they were saying like, you better stand behind the line, photographers, or I'm gonna kick you out of the show. Like, I feel like that was a little dramatic, but it was fun and I feel like it added to it. The other thing that the old shows used to have is that the models were really promoted and made to be stars. So it was almost like watching your favorite TV show, and the ladies that were our very well-known angels, they would be featured in the opening show credits. And then we would even get to see these really fun interview clips of them, like these personality clips. And I will say that those clips seem to be like this embodiment of the fun, the sexy, the playful Victoria's Secret angel. And I feel like we've lost that personality in the brand. The other thing I was thinking about is that when I was looking at a lot of these models, I didn't recognize most of them. Granted, I'm not reading fashion magazines every week and following the fashion industry, but I also wasn't doing that back then when I was watching Victoria's Secret, but I knew the angels. The reason I could remember them and knew the angels back then by name was because you would see them at store openings for Victoria's Secret. And even in the old shows, you would see all of the angels arrive in LA and they all had Victoria's Secret outfits on and they were all in this private plane and it was so glamorous. It wasn't just I'm a model that got booked to Victoria's Secret. It was being a Victoria's Secret angel is different. It's on another level. And I feel like that is another thing that just made it so special, and it made so many young girls just really want to be Victoria's Secret angels. Like, what girls wouldn't want to be whisked around the world at all these show openings and premieres and events and walk in the show? Now, I did really like Tyla's styling. For me, I was expecting looks like that throughout the entire show. I feel like we were missing rhinestones. Like, what happened to rhinestones and glitter and fringe and feathers and embellishments? Where were they in this show? I also did like that we brought back some of the angels of years past, and then icons like Kate Moss. I did think that that was really cool. And throughout the show, I just want to say I was missing Giselle. I was missing her walk. I was missing her presence. Just all of it. Now, one epic thing that they did was have Cher perform. Cher is an icon. Just look at her entire career. She is amazing because she has been able to stay in the industry in a number of different ways, but she's just been a really, I would say, classy figure in entertainment for so long, and she's so well respected, and she's still a great performer. I was impressed. The other thing is that overall, I would say I was disappointed by the walks. Back in the 2000s, the models had two things. They had a walk that was more of a stomp. A lot of people refer to it as a horse walk, which was fun for this type of show. And they had more personality. We saw a little bit more of like the fun ankles, kisses to the camera, a little bit more movement. They were just more playful with the whole thing, and I missed that. And when I look at it overall, I was like, as a group, these walks, in my opinion, don't compare to the mid-2000s. Something else, I don't know if you caught this, but back in the 2000s, they used to have really up-close shots of the angels, and that's how the angels became known for this Victoria's Secret makeup. It's a very specific angelic style of makeup. And what's interesting is after the show, searches for 2000s Victoria's Secret makeup went up. It like went through the roof, and everybody's been looking for, how do I recreate the makeup back then? Not the makeup at this last show, the makeup back then. And that's another thing. When I would watch the shows, they would be using the products that you could get at Victoria's Secret on the angels. So there was this clip I saw, and they were dusting this shimmer powder all over one of the girls. And I can just remember going to Victoria's Secret to go get that shimmer powder. I remember buying the lip glosses from Victoria's Secret because the angels were wearing them. They also had these full-on lip palettes, and I probably still have some somewhere with my mom buried in a closet. But they were so iconic. Like, the Victoria's Secret beauty was also a part of the Victoria's Secret show. I don't hear anybody talking about the products that the angels were using and anybody running to go get them. Do they even have beauty anymore? I don't know. I will say that I also really loved that Tyra closed the show. I am all for bringing back a Victoria's Secret icon and angel, yes, but what was going on with the heels? I don't know if that's what's happened to Tyra's walk over the years, or if those shoes literally had no support. I'm leaning towards no support, because I never wear heels like that because they have no support for your ankles. It looked like her ankles were rolling out for half of the walk, and that the shoes were not staying on. So I was like, oh, please, just better heels next time. Why is that so difficult? The last thing that I will close on for this episode is the exclusion of the fantasy bra. Where was it? It's supposed to be a fantasy. Where was it? Giselle used to debut the fantasy bra. There were a few of them, and Giselle wore the most expensive one, retailing at about $15 million, made of diamonds and rubies. Where was my fantasy bra? Where was the fantasy? How could we miss that? All in all, I think that a lot of people were really excited for the show to come back. And I was excited because I really enjoyed the show. But do I feel like it really compares to the magic of that 2000s era? No. Do I feel like they could get closer to that? Yes. Starting out with the choreography and the styling. I feel like we need new designers for better wings and styling that's actually going to be selling me the lingerie. Because we all need underwear. I'll buy it, but I won't be running to the store for any of these pieces. Those are my thoughts on the show. What do you think? How would you rate their comeback? Thanks for checking out this episode, and let me know what you want to see next on the channel.